Hello guys, today we'll be talking about kinetics. Kinetics, you all know, is about uh, consideration of effect of forces on a particle, system of particles and rigid bodies. So today we'll be taking up kinetics of particle and system of particles. So I've drawn parallel between the two. So it's more or less similar things are there. Whatever we do for a single particle will extend that to the system of particles. That's why there is a comparison, or there is a some relationship between the two. So that's why I have just presented them on a single sheet so that we can go through them in comparison. So force of on a single particle is mass times acceleration. We all know this is the Newton's second law, or a form of Newton's second law. Acceleration is we all know that acceleration is equal to upon dt. So this is acceleration. So acceleration itself is related to the position vector r. So force is also related to r, and acceleration is also it is also a function of velocity. It is the rate of change of velocity. So here we can see that force can be a function of time, position vector or velocity. So this is a second order ODE, ordinary differential equation, and we all know that in order to solve a second order ODE you need two initial conditions, two ICs. Okay, because it's a second order ODE in time, so you need two initial conditions. So here we need this initial position and initial velocity. So if we have these, we can solve for the forces. So this is the net force. Just keep in mind, here we are talking about net force, summation of all the forces. Now types of forces. Forces can be constant force, for example the gravity force or the dry friction force. So this is a constant force, it doesn't change. Gravity is force which depends upon the gravitational field, and dry friction is the force which depends upon the friction. So whatever the value of mu and depending upon the two surfaces, it's constant quantity. Also force due to spring. So this is somewhat a function of position. So this is force due to spring, it's a function of position. Then this air resistance, fluid resistance force is a function of velocity. We'll come back to the past system of particles later. So now we talk about linear and angular momentum. So suppose this is any so this is the origin from where we are considering this is the path taken by any particle, and which is having a mass m and having a velocity v. So this is a vector velocity. So this is the direction of the velocity, and this is the position vector, and this is the direction of the force which is applied on this particle of mass m. So remember, when we are talking about kinematics, we were just not considering the forces. We are just considering velocity, acceleration, position with time and all those things. But here we are talking about kinetics, so we have to consider the forces. So the linear momentum, or we know that it's mass times the velocity. So it's also a vector having the direction of the velocity, and h naught is the angular momentum, which is r cross L, where L is the linear momentum. So this is its direction. Again, it's cross product, so direction depends upon the right hand thumb rule. So it can also be written as r cross mv, which is the angular momentum. Now time derivative of L and H, if you find the derivative of L with time, rate of change of linear momentum, this is equal to mass dv by dt, and this is equal to summation of forces. So this is again Newton's second law, a form which we all know, that rate of change of momentum, the linear momentum is equal to the net forces. Now what is the rate of change of angular momentum? So d by dt of r mv. So this thing dr by dt and cross product with mv. So again you can see that this quantity is velocity. So velocity cross product with velocity, this is 0, which is here. So this is equal to r cross m dv by dt, and m dv by dt, again this is the sum of the forces, the net forces. So r cross f, and which we all know is equal to the moment of any object about a point O, moment about point O. So rate of change of angular momentum is equal to the moment about that point, which is r cross net force. Now H and L and H naught linear and angular momentum are conserved in the result of in the absence of resultant forces. So from here we can see that if this is 0, the rate of change of angular momentum is 0, and the momentum is linear momentum is 0, so linear momentum is conserved. And again here, if this is 0, again the rate of change of angular momentum is 0 and it is again conserved. And in addition to this, H naught is conserved if the motion is such that r is parallel to H. We can also have a situation when the cross product of r cross f is 0. So when the sine of theta is the angle between the two, is 0, so this is also 0, and the angular momentum is conserved. So linear momentum and angular momentum both are conserved in the absence of resultant forces. Net summation of force is 0, and in addition to that, H naught or the angular momentum is conserved if r is parallel to f. Now we take an example: motion of a particle in gravitational field, which is a constant force, and air resistance. So air resistance, we all know, is a force which is dependent upon the velocity, and these are the initial conditions: r0, v0, r0, v 0 is equal to u0, v0, and w0. This is the initial velocity. So this is a simple example. You can go through this. We get differential equations in x, y, and z, and we have to solve them and get the result. Now we come to system of particles. So we come to system of particles. Now consider a system of n particles. Here they are independent. They are not dependent particles, so they are independent. And Ri is the position vector of the ith particle. So let's say so if this is any system, So this is Ri, this is the ith particle. So this is Pi, the ith particle, and this is the position vector of that ith particle. So Fi is the external forces on that ith particle, and Fij the internal forces exerted by the the jth particle on the ith particle. Now if you take summation of all the forces is equal to mass times acceleration of that particle, ith particle. So Fi plus Fij, this is the effect of exerted by jth particle on the ith particle. So all the particles except from I which are exerting a force on j, summation of all the forces, and this is mass times acceleration of the ith particle. Now if you take moments about O, if we take moment about O, this Ri cross Fi into summation of this Ri cross Fij into Ri cross Mi Ai. Now Fij is equal to Fji, they are equal and opposite forces. So if you take moments, some of their moments about O, Ri cross Fij plus Rj cross Rfi, Ri cross Fij plus Rj cross Fji. So what is this equal to? So this is equal to Ri into Fij plus Fji. What we are doing is we are adding and subtracting Ri cross Fji. Okay. So Ri cross Fji. So if you add and subtract this in this equation, you will get this term. Now if you just have a look at this, this is 0 because though both the vectors are collinear, so this quantity, so this vanishes, and again also here this is 0 because they are equal and opposite. So this whole quantity, this reduces to 0. So here we can put from here we can look at these equations. So again this equation, this becomes 0, this is 0, and also Rji minus Rij Fji, this is also 0. So here also in the cross product, this quantity again it is 0. So what we are left with is this quantity. So sigma Ri cross Fi is equal to Ri cross Mi Ai, and this also. So these are the equation for ith particle. Okay, equations for this is for ith particle. Now linear and angular momentum for ith particle, L is equal to sigma Mi Vi, and angular momentum is sigma Ri cross Mi Vi. Now dl upon dt, the rate of change of linear momentum is equal to again sigma Mi Ai, which is equal to net summation of forces, and this can also be written as L dot. Similarly, rate of change of angular momentum H naught H dot naught, this is equal to sigma Ri cross Mi Ai, which is equal to the moment of that ith particle about O. Okay, Ri cross Li also. Now center of mass, there's a concept of center of mass which you all know is the when we have a system of particles or rigid body, the point at which whole of the mass of the body is appears to be concentrated, and this is the equation for that. So this is the equation or definition of the center of the mass. M, position of the center of mass, is equal to sigma mi ri, where m is the net summation of the masses of all the particles. Now rate of change of this center of mass, this is equal to m ri dot, or m r dot cm is equal to r dot cm is equal to vcm. So again LCM is equal to the linear momentum of the center of the mass is equal to, from here we can see that so this is L and this is LCM. Now rate of change of this MVCM is equal to MACM is equal to summation of MI AI and sum of all the forces. This is a force on all the particles, and this is equal to rate of change of LCM dl upon dt. So sigma Fi is equal to rate of change of linear momentum. So here you can see that summation of all the forces on all the particles is equal to rate of change of the momentum, linear momentum, or rate of change of linear momentum of the center of the mass. Now HCM is the rate of angular change of this is the angular momentum of the center of the mass. This is RCM MVCM. So if you put what RCM stands for is this sigma mi ri upon m, and MVCM is equal to sigma mi vi. So if you get this for individual particles, you can get HCM. And rate of change of linear momentum of the center of the mass, angular momentum of the center of the mass is equal to RCM into sigma MIAI RCM Fi. Again, this is equal to the moment. RCM Fi is the moment of the particle, moment of the center of the mass of the particle. Now conservation of momentum. So if sigma Fi is 0, then linear momentum is conserved, as well as this angular momentum is conserved, and also if the cross product of Ri Fi is 0, then also in that case angular momentum is conserved. Now there is another approach rather than the direct second law approach. There is another approach. The advantage of that approach is here we don't have to calculate the acceleration. So whenever we are using the second law approach, there is always a component of acceleration. But in this method, which is known as the work energy method, here acceleration you don't have to compute. You can directly compute velocities and time. If you want to do that, you can use this method. So this is the work energy method. It is based on the concept that rate of change of work is equal to the kinetic energy. So this is what we are going to derive here from simple this mathematics. So this is how work is defined, F dot dr from path A to B. So in exact integral, so dr by dt into dt, so dr by dt is v, so F dot v into dt, and this is again force, we can write m dv upon dt into v dt. So this is again a math, m d, the dot product of velocity with velocity, this is equal to half 2 times of d by dv by dt into v. So this is equal to half dv square by dt. The simple math. So we put this here in this equation and we get this. From 1 to 2 m by 2 dv square dt dt gets cancelled, and this is equal to change in the kinetic energy, or here we are representing as delta t. So work done between 1 to 1 from point A to B, or from a path followed point from A to B, is equal to rate of change of kinetic energy. This is the work energy principle. Now for conservative forces, work done is also equal to change in minus of the change in the potential energy. So combining these two equations, this and this, we come to this conclusion, or this can be written and in another form as another form of writing. So the kinetic energy at any point 2 is equal plus the change in the potential energy is equal to kinetic energy, the initial kinetic energy. So this is also derived from the fundamental equation F is equal to m. So this is work energy and the relation between position, velocity, mass, and it's a scalar equation. This is a very advantage of this, that it's a scalar equation. One thing is that acceleration is not in picture. Another is that we all get to solve scalar equations. In Newton's second law analysis, you have all those vector equations to solve. Second order ODE and vector equation test. Again, we can extend this for impulse momentum relationship also. So F dot dt is the change in the linear momentum, and m naught dt is equal to change in the angular momentum. So the impulse force I is equal to I y2 is equal to F dot dt. So 0 to 1 f dt. So here equations for angular and linear momentum. So from here also we can get the relationship between force, time, mass, velocity, and this is a vector equation again to solve. Now, as I told earlier also, the net in both work energy and impulse momentum methods, acceleration is not determination of acceleration becomes unnecessary, and direct relation between force, mass, velocity, and displacement, and force, mass, velocity, time in impulse momentum can be obtained. So now we come to for system of particles. Again, it is same with the kinetic energy. If you have a system of particles, so the kinetic particle is equal to half mi v1. So principle of work energy, again the same as for particle. So this can be applied to each particle. Okay. So this is again that kinetic energy. This is change in the potential energy. This is the same equation that we obtained here. This equation for one particle, and similarly we can apply this for each particle, and similarly for momentum also. So this is the linear momentum, this is the angular momentum, and this is basically the impulse force. So this can be applied to each particle and for a system of particles, and from there we can analyze. So next topic that we'll be covering is impact. So impact is basically a collision between two bodies, and between that collision, which is for a very small period of time, huge amount of forces are shared by, or a huge amount of forces are mutually transferred between the two bodies. So body 1 exerts a large amount of force on the second body, and second body in the return exerts a large amount of force on the first body. So this is basically impact, where relatively large forces are exchanged in a very short interval of time. So there are few terms which we need to be familiar with regarding impact. One is the line of impact. So line of impact is basically the common normal to the surfaces in contact. So if you see that this is a common, if this is the surface of contact, this point is surface of contact, this line here, this is the common normal to it, and this is known as line of impact. So if the center of masses of the two colliding bodies lie on the line of impact, it is known as the central impact. So if the center of mass of this object A is where this arrow is pointing, and for B is this where this arrow is pointing, so they lie on the line of impact. So this is known as direct impact. And if the center of masses do not lie on line of impact, they are in some other place. This is for example, consider some arbitrarily shaped bodies, and they collide like this. So basically this is the line of impact, and their center of masses are at some place different. So this is these are the center of masses, and there are some at some different place. So they are not on the line of impact. So this is a eccentric impact. So we'll be dealing here in this course, or now the problems related to this topic will be on central impact. Eccentric impact is in another topic. So if the velocities of the two particles are directed along the line of impact, so you can see that here the two velocities, they are directed along the line of impact. So this is a direct central impact. And if the two velocities here, they are not along the line of impact, if this is the line of impact, so this is oblique central impact. I'll share a link in the lecture notes related to the animation, or the you can clearly understand through animation all these terminologies. Now direct central impact. So let's assume that these are the two objects A and B. They are moving along the same line. This is the line along which they are moving, having velocities V and VB, and VA is greater than VB. So what will happen is that A will collide with B at some point in time, and this is what happens. A will collide. So during collision, what will happen is that first the deformation will take place for a certain period of time after collision, and then restoration of the shapes will take place. There is some situations where bodies may get completely deformed also, and in some situations body may get completely restored also. So there is a period of deformation and the period of restoration. So this is period of deformation, and period of restoration is which is known as restitution period. Okay. So during both these periods, they will have the same velocity u during the period of deformation and restitution. So let VA, VB were initial velocities, VA prime, VB prime were the velocities after restitution. So when the bodies they are completely restituted, restored to their original shapes, they will then depart with velocities of VA prime and VB prime. So conservation of momentum. Now if the motion is along the same line, we can go away with these vectors. So this is the conservation of momentum in scalar form. So now if P is the force exerted, this is P is the force exerted during the impact by B on A. So during deformation of A, okay, this is the moment balance equation. MAVA minus, this is the impact force, P dt is equal to MAU. U is the velocity after impact, during which the two bodies are together. That is during the period of deformation and restitution. Now consider R to be the force exerted by B on A during restitution. This was during deformation, this is during restitution of A. So this is again moment balance equation. MAU minus R dt, this is the impact force, is equal to MAVA prime. Now there is a term known as coefficient of restitution E, it is defined as in this way, the impact force during restitution divided by the impact force during deformation. And E can take values between 0 to 1, because we can see here that the maximum force, the maximum restitution force that when two colliding bodies can have is when R equals to P. R can be 0 also, and the maximum force that R can be when R equal to P. So E lies between 0 to 1. R can never be equal greater than P. The restitution force is never greater than the deformation force. So from these two equations, we are talking about 3 and 4, we get this value for E. Similarly, this we talked about for A. Now similarly for particle B, this equation we can obtain in a similar fashion. Now if you further solve these two equations, you will get this equation. So this is the equation for coefficient of restitution for two bodies colliding. Now special cases, when E is 0, means the two bodies, they get simply attached to each other after the impact. So this is known as perfectly elastic impact when E is 0. And from here we can see that VB prime is equal to VA prime, and they are basically same after impact. So the two bodies, they just simply get attached to each other. Now for perfectly elastic impact, E is 1, that is the force of deformation is equal to force of restitution. So this is equation that we get. And in such cases, in perfectly elastic impact, we can simply write the moment balance equation like this, and also energy is conserved. So this is energy conservation equation for perfectly plastic impacts. This is the kinetic energy being conserved. Now oblique central impact. For oblique central impact, this is the initial velocity of A, initial velocity of B, final velocity of A, final velocity of B. These are the two axes we are talking about, T and N. N is the axis along the line of impact, and T is the axis normal to the line of impact. This is T and this is N. Now along T, the velocities, they are the same, the initial and the final velocities. And along N, this is moment balance, and from direct central impact, we have this relationship. So using this equation and this equation and this equation, we can solve for oblique central impact. Now we come to the problems. So this is the first problem. When 3 kg collar B slides in a frictionless arm AA prime, the arm is attached to drum D and rotates about O in the horizontal plane at the rate of theta naught is equal to 0.75 t, where theta naught and t are expressed in radians per second and seconds respectively. As the arm drum assembly rotates, the mechanism, this assembly is rotating, rotates the mechanism within the drum releases a cord. So basically this is the cord, releases the cord so that the collar moves outward from O. Okay, collar is moving outwards from O in this direction, outward from O with a constant speed of 0.5 meters per second. Knowing that at time 0 R is 0, determine the time at which the tension in the cord is equal to the magnitude and horizontal force exerted by B on arm AA prime. So now this or the dimensions are given in radial and transverse components, so we will be carrying on using those two components in the analysis. So here r dot is 0.5 meters per second, which is the radial velocity, and it is constant. So if you integrate it, you will get the equation for change of r, the position vector, and r double dot is 0. Theta dot is given as this. Theta double dot acceleration is transverse direction is this. Now AR, sorry, this is the rate of change of theta in this, and this is the rate of change of theta dot in transverse direction rate of change. So AR, we know this expression from the radial component and transverse component analysis in kinematics. So we put the values, we get the acceleration is radial direction to be this, and in transverse direction acceleration we also know this equation, and we put the values to get this value in time. Now we need to find out the forces. So Fr is equal to MAR, the radial component of force is mass into acceleration in radial direction, and this is it. If you put it like this, so here you can see that the tension is in this direction, so it is negative. So minus T is equal to 3 into 3 kg into this acceleration. So this will give you an equation in time, in third order in time. Here theta, the transverse component of the force, is equal to mass into mass of B into the acceleration in theta direction, the transverse direction. So if this is Q, you put the values, you get equation for Q. Now here the condition is given T is equal to Q, so you equate them, you solve it, you get time is equal to 2 seconds. Now come to the next example. So 1200 kg trailer is hitched to a 1400 kg car. A car and the trailer are traveling at 72 kilometers per hour. When the driver applies the brake so that the both car and applies the brake on both car and trailer, knowing that the braking forces exerted on the car and the trailer are 5000 Newton, 4000 Newtons respectively, determine the distance traveled by car and the trailer before they come to stop. And second is the horizontal component of the force exerted by the trailer hitch on the car. Okay, so here we can see that that we don't have to find the acceleration, so we can use both the analysis, Newton's second law analysis also, and the work energy analysis also. But as acceleration is what we do not need to find, so we'll be using the analysis for work and energy. So these are the initial conditions. Velocity is 20 meters per second converted, and final velocity is 0. Braking force, this is for car, this is for trailer. Now D is the braking distance. So this is the change in so this is the initial kinetic energy. Okay, half both are combined and the velocity is same, and this is the final kinetic energy. They come to stop, so T2 is 0, and this is the work done. Work done is by braking force, so it is negative Fc plus Ft into D. Fc is the braking force for car, Ft is the braking force for the trailer into the braking distance. So this is the work energy relationship. T1 and work done from 1 to 2 is equal to T2. Put these values and you will be solving, and you will be getting T is equal to 57.8 meters. Now second, for force exerted by the trailer on the car, so we will consider the car. So this is the initial kinetic energy of the car. Final kinetic energy is 0. So work done is the braking force is retarding force, and H is the force exerted by the trailer on the car, which is the pulling force. So this is positive, this is negative. Again, you put in the spherical energy relationship, this equation, and solve, and we get this answer H. Now the third example, a loaded railroad car of mass m is rolling at a constant velocity of v naught, which at couples v naught when it couples with a massless bumper system. So this is the massless bumper system. Determine the maximum deflection of the bumper, assuming two springs are in series and in parallel. So series it is shown, parallel we have to assume that this the system is like this. So there is one spring like this, another spring is, so this is parallel. Okay, so this is again we can see here that we don't have to find the acceleration. We can use both the analysis, Newton's second law analysis also, and the work energy analysis. But as acceleration is not to be found, we'll be trying to use the energy balance or work energy relationship. So initial, this is the initial, sorry. So this is the initial kinetic energy, and this is the initial spring force, which is 0 because there is no deflection initially. Final kinetic energy is 0 because they come to stop at the maximum deflection, and this is at maximum deflection. So if you use the energy balance, initial energy is equal to final energy. So this is what we get in the final form of energy balance. Now the springs are in series, so this we know, the spring force F is equal to minus kx. So here we can use x1 x2. We can put the values of x1 x2 in this equation. So this becomes this. So from this we can solve for F, and maximum deflection is delta is equal to x1 plus x2 and is equal to 1 by k1 plus 1 by k2 F. So put the value of F from here to here. Okay, and you solve this and you get delta this. Sorry. And you get this. Now in series, in parallel, this is the arrangement in parallel. So this is the parallel arrangement. So in parallel arrangement, delta is x1 and x2, they are all same and it is equal to delta. So put this in equation number 1 here. Put here in x1 and x2 in place of x1 and x2, put delta, and you will be getting this equation, and you can obtain delta from here. So thank you guys for this listening to